Organ Trafficking and the Commodification of Body Parts by Alexandra Moranos and Darielle Bond. The Black Market Organ Trade. The first successful live kidney transplant was performed in 1954 by doctors Joseph Murray and Christian Barnard, where they removed a kidney from one healthy identical twin into his terminally ill brother. These procedures grew more efficient as time went on, and over the past several decades, modern medicine's success rate with these surgeries has soared. What has not been as equally successful is the donor matching process for patients on organ transplant waiting lists. Supply and demand. While the number of organs donated over the last 20 years has remained consistent, the need for life-saving transplant surgery has risen exponentially due to a growing number of people with deteriorating health and organ failure due to hypertension, cardiometabolic diseases, diabetes, and obesity. More than 100,000 people globally are on the organ transplant waiting list, with an average of 50% of people dying before they ever receive one. How much am I worth? The worldwide escalation in the number of people with lifestyle diseases and the inability to supply them with organs to improve their quality of life because of a global shortage has fueled an underground organ trafficking market that thrives. Because supply grossly lags behind demand, desperately ill patients with the means but few legal ways to obtain an organ have turned to the black market, which accounts for 10% of the transplants performed annually. The red market. Demand far exceeds supply, and another black market has emerged where vulnerable individuals are exploited for profit. This market has been dubbed the red market, a lucrative underground economy distinct as it turns our own bodies into a commodity exposed to the forces of supply and demand. Those who are most deceived and exploited in the illegal procurement of organs are the economically disadvantaged, who are persuaded with financial incentives and the promise to get out of debt, making the decision to part with an organ easy. Most black market kidneys that are transplanted into the failing bodies of affluent patients are from residents of the world's most impoverished slums. Transplant tourism. The most common way that organs are traded across borders is through transplant tourism, which involves potential recipients traveling to the donor's country of origin to have the operation performed. Global crime networks recruit poor nationals, immigrants, foreign workers, or political and economic refugees to serve the needs of transplant tourists in countries that tolerate or have an active role in facilitating the illegal trade in human organs. Organ harvesting. Many countries have folklore around body snatchers, who pluck lone travelers from dark, dirt roads to harvest their organs, never to be seen again. In science fiction movies and books from the 50s, there's the common trope of a character who wakes up on an operating table after having gone in for one procedure, only to discover that something completely different was performed instead. While these stories are more myth than reality, the fact remains that organ harvesting, otherwise known as organ trafficking, is a real and thriving industry. China has the world's highest execution rate, and an Amnesty International report finds that 99% of organs in China come from executed prisoners. It is also believed that hospitals harvest 11,000 organs from political prisoners each year. Patients who arrive in China are often forced to participate in intense bidding wars at the hospital to see who will get first pick of the organ from a recently executed prisoner. The sleeping kidney. In most cases where people are persuaded or coerced into selling their kidneys, they are unaware of what the organ is, let alone the vital purpose it serves in their body's functioning. In newspaper advertisements in Bangladesh, doctors outright lied to potential donors with the tale of the sleeping kidney that would wake up once the other one was removed. In some countries, women are forced by their husbands to sell organs to foreign buyers in order to contribute to the family's income or to provide for the dowry of a daughter. The organs are also sometimes used as a collateral for moneylenders, and what is often sold to the wealthy in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh to help get a family who is struggling out of debt is short lived, as families quickly find themselves back in debt. illegal and clandestine procedures. The most esteemed professionals wielding power in this lucrative market are the surgeons and health professionals who perform clandestine surgeries at public and private hospitals that are willing to turn a blind eye and violate universal ethical principles. Unregulated services in this trade are facilitated by a network of brokers, surgeons, technicians, clergymen, and hospitals who are involved in bringing voluntary donors from developing nations such as Brazil, China, Colombia, India, Pakistan, Egypt, Turkey, and some countries in Africa. Donors rarely succeed in paying off the very debts that often lead them to sell an organ in the first place, and their permanent disfigurement often leaves them with a lifelong disability and limited employment opportunities as laborers. Transnational organized crime. Transnational organized criminal groups have made a highly profitable business from the global organ shortage. A culture of corruption and an unregulated global market has created an intricate and profitable brokerage system that spans all continents. They oversee the many moving parts needed to ensure that transplant tourism runs seamlessly and that organ trafficking generates maximum profits. Solutions. Right now, the only legal way to donate an organ in the United States is if one does it altruistically. The current collective response from the international community is one that sees tougher enforcement of national laws and international agreements to limit this so-called red market. But some argue that if you regulate the market through legalized compensation for organ donors, organ supply will increase worldwide, demands will be met, and each country will be self-sufficient in their donation process. Additional incentives, apart from monetary offers, such as vocational training of the donor or social benefits, should be considered because these are likely to have a sustained positive impact on donors and their families.